Let's finally say it, the notch is a design compromise. The only reason it's there is to make bezel-less phones of today a reality without losing out on the front camera, earpiece and sensors. Now getting to the Vivo Nex, the company has made some bold and risky design choices. The fingerprint scanner has found its way underneath the display, the front camera is housed in a mechanism that pops up from within the smartphone, and the earpiece has been replaced with a motor that vibrates the screen. All for a truly bezel-less display that does not compromise on the design with a notch. The big question is, how is it as an overall smartphone? Well, this is our review. But before we go ahead with the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and be sure to hit the bell icon so that you know when we have a new video. Let's cut to the chase. The Vivo Nex is the most beautiful Vivo smartphone to date. As with all 2018 flagships, you get the same premium blend of glass and metal. The glass back has a grey speckled pattern and strikes the right balance between bling and subtlety. Build quality is top notch and the phone feels incredibly solid in the hand. With no notch, the front fascia is dominated by the screen, which gives the phone a seamless look. There's a slim chin at the bottom and a faint border around the display, but it still looks impressive nonetheless. With a thickness of 7.98mm and a weight of 199 grams, the Vivo Nex is quite a hefty phone, bordering on phablet territory. The rear is extremely slippery and also a major fingerprint magnet. The USP of the Vivo Nex is undoubtedly the pop-up camera system that includes an 8-megapixel image sensor. The camera elevates in 1 second, accompanied by a slightly cheesy sci-fi sound, which thankfully can be turned off. Given the additional moving parts, the question of long-term durability comes in. While the mechanism feels quite solid, we can't tell for sure at this point if it will stand the test of time. What if the phone falls with the front camera extended? It could be quite catastrophic. The in-screen fingerprint sensor that we originally tested in the Vivo X21 is here as well. Its placement is convenient and is quite functional. The speed has been improved as compared to the Vivo X21, but the accuracy is still spotty. To make things worse, there is no facial recognition as a backup security option. Vivo has done away with the regular earpiece and replaced it with a vibration motor that helps project sound at the top of the display. A technology called screen sound casting uses glass vibration to produce sound. The technology is theoretically impressive, but in reality we found it hard to hear callers with their voice sounding muffled and indistinct. The left side houses an AI button which can invoke Google Lens with a press. A long press can call Google Assistant as well. And no, you can't remap the button to perform another task, just like Samsung's Bixby button. The USB Type-C port at the bottom is flanked by a loudspeaker and the SIM tray, which has separate slots for 2 nano SIM cards. The single loudspeaker gets reasonably loud but is very shrill and tinny. In what is surely a direct result of the pop-up front-facing camera, the Vivo Nex is neither waterproof nor dust-proof. The Vivo Nex is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor coupled with 8GB of RAM. There is no microSD slot, which is a bit disappointing, but the 128GB internal storage should be enough for most buyers. The Vivo Nex features a 4000 mAh battery that supports Vivo's proprietary fast charge protocol. It has a 6.59-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED display with a 19.3:9 aspect ratio and runs FunTouch OS 4.0 on top of Android 8.1 Oreo. There is no official news regarding the Android P update for this smartphone. The 6.59-inch Super AMOLED display is the star of the show here. With a screen-to-body ratio of 93%, it simply looks striking. The viewing angles are superb, colors are vivid, and the panel has deep inky blacks. The maximum brightness is impressive and the display also gets dim enough for comfortable use in a dark room. Vivo has moved the ambient light sensor underneath the display and it works well enough. Apart from a few user interface niggles, performance was pretty much top-notch. With the Snapdragon 845 under the hood, the Vivo Nex handled everything from simple day-to-day use to intensive workloads with aplomb. Gaming on the phone is also quite a pleasurable experience. Games like Asphalt 8 look gorgeous on the 19.3:9 screen and run flawlessly with minimal load times and no lag or stutter to speak of. Vivo has taken a lot of inspiration from iOS with FunTouch OS. There is no app drawer, and there is even a control center which houses all the quick toggles that are usually found in the notifications shade in Android. The OS is reasonably fluid and snappy and is loaded with features. Navigation gestures though are a bit of a mixed bag. While most of them are smooth and easy to use, the gesture to invoke recent apps, which involves holding the screen and then sliding up, is choppy and very slow. We experienced several app crashes throughout our review period, and some applications refused to play well with the unique aspect ratio of the Vivo Nex. The user interface is also in dire need of simplification. For example, there are 35 sub-menus within the settings panel with no search functionality to speak of. The amount of bloat is also disappointing, especially for a flagship smartphone. Thankfully, all the pre-installed apps can be uninstalled. Battery life is quite fantastic, and we never had any anxiety about running out of power. We got through our day with about 40% left at the end, which is quite impressive. Our HD video loop test ran for a staggering 16 hours and 23 minutes, which is one of the best scores we have seen in this segment. The huge fast charger that Vivo bundles in the box takes the phone from 0 to about 50% in about 40 to 45 minutes. Vivo's flagship smartphone has a dual rear camera setup with a 12 megapixel IMX363 primary sensor with 4-axis optical image stabilization alongside a 5 megapixel secondary sensor. As we earlier mentioned, the front 8 megapixel camera pops up from within the chassis. We were quite impressed with the quality of photos taken with the rear camera. The level of detail is impressive, colors are rich and vibrant, and the autofocus is precise and accurate. There is also little to no shutter lag to speak of, and the dynamic range is good. Thanks to the 4-axis optical image stabilization, images taken at night also come out sharp and detailed. As with most flagships these days, the rear camera can recognize the object or scene being shot and optimize image settings accordingly. The vivid colors captured by the rear camera might be a turn-off for some people who prefer natural colors. The portrait mode is also slightly iffy, with substandard poor edge detection around objects. The selfie camera is a disappointment. Not only is it laggy, it has a tendency to overexpose shots. It captures a decent amount of detail in well-lit situations but struggles in low light. Images taken at night look very soft and have a fair bit of noise. There's a beautify mode in the camera app which works pretty much as you would expect. AR stickers are implemented well and are a good way to impress friends. They can be used with both the front and the rear camera. There's a fully featured professional mode in the camera application as well, which allows you to alter the ISO, exposure, shutter speed and white balance. Video recording maxes out at 1080p for the front camera, while the rear module is capable of 4K video recording. Videos shot with the rear cameras are detailed and quite stable thanks to the 4-axis optical image stabilization. Slow motion video is capped at 1080p. The resultant videos are quite good, but we did experience flickering in unfavorable light. The Vivo Nex is a smartphone from the future which is gorgeous, immensely powerful and loaded with impressive technologies. The OLED display is superb, the rear camera is competent and battery life is impressive. However, the software has niggles, the fingerprint scanner, as futuristic as it may be, is unreliable, calls are hard to hear, and many flagship features like waterproofing and wireless charging are conspicuous by their absence. Even though the phone has a lot going for it, we advise you to hold off until the technology matures and the day-to-day niggles are sorted. Flagship offerings from the likes of Apple, OnePlus and Samsung are more polished and easier to live with on a day-to-day basis. As of now, the Vivo Nex is best looked upon as an object of desire rather than owned as a daily driver. However, if you can live with the compromises, there's a certain charm attached to the Vivo Nex. The smartphone is far from perfect and using it can get quite frustrating at times, but it is undeniably desirable. So that was a review of the Vivo Nex. Thanks for watching, and for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.